crossing over the rung and back under and through the center. And then back over this rung, over, down, toward the center. Okay, so I got a clamp here. Might as well mention this while I'm working with the clamp. As you can see, I didn't have it clamped on top of that cord, but I'm catching the cord on the bottom side with the bottom jaw of the clamp, and that'll keep you from denting your cord as you work with it. So what I'm trying to achieve here is I want this cord to cross over right there in the center, because I want it to work off this post and point at a 45-degree angle toward the center. Now, since I pre-wove it before I tensioned it, it helps me to kind of work more efficiently. I'm not struggling with my bundle while I'm trying to get everything wrapped nice and neat and tight. So again, I'm going to try to get that push right there, equal distance between those 2 points. I want it to land. So it's going to be, a little bit low. And then just keep good, consistent tension. That's the key to doing this. And don't try to figure out how to do it and then rush. Figure out how to do it right. And get in a good groove. And just stay consistent, even with your pressure, and you'll end up with a nice clean weave. If you start rushing, you're gonna get an inconsistent weave. You can't do good work rushing. Really, experience is how you're gonna build speed, not by trying to consciously rush it. At least that's what I found. Now, I'm just gonna stop back here for now. Usually I stop my wrap here, but I change the spot that I work off a couple times through the chair, depending on what area I'm doing or what part of the wrap I'm on. So again, we're gonna pre-weave it before we apply any tension. I'm just gonna stop here, because that's where I like to stop. About the first 5 wraps, I think 5 or 6, it's really pretty key to getting you started off right. And so it's not necessarily being real tight, it's just making sure your cord is landing right where it needs to. And certain things have the right amount of tension on it. So here, this corner and this corner tend to be the most difficult corners to get nice and clean. As you can see, these are already laying together pretty well. But here, because of the nature of the way the cord comes over, it has a tendency to kind of get off from where you want it to land. So you kind of have to build through the first few wraps, bringing this up to that. And it's kind of a quirky little balance to do. I wish I had a perfect way of explaining it or getting it to where I wanted to each time, but it seems like I'm always kind of playing with it. So now that I'm over here, you see I kind of angle it a little bit so that I'm catching the bottom of the cord, not the top. If you don't do that, you'll end up with all your cord across here with a little bit of a indentation on it. Just doesn't look nice. I think the first time I wove one of these seats took me about 8 hours. So don't be surprised if it takes you a long time or a couple of chairs before you really feel comfortable with what you're doing. We'll get a couple of these wrapped, and then I'll stop the video and I'll bring you back in when we're a little further ways into the weave, and we can cover some little tips. And I'll probably go through the same process and make sure it's pretty clear. Okay. You see I'm kind of trying to push it in. And these first wraps here, it's really difficult to get those tight with no gap between it, since you're kind of working at an angle. Because this post is taking up a little bit of that corner, so because of that, all those first little weaves come in at a bit of an angle. And so they show more of a gap, but as you go along, you can fill in the gap. It may not make sense, but once you weave your first chair, you'll see what I'm talking about. All these kind of weaves sort of start like that, and they kind of straighten out.